Improvement discussions. We have the sheriff with us, Sheriff Darren Hall, and I think you've brought a couple folks that I'll let you introduce with you. Just also want to give a quick shout out to Councilmember John Cooper, Councilmember Vercher, who are back there with us as well, and just want to remind the viewers at home that we are going to be asked for lots of fund requests over the next several days. Our revenue projections may very well not meet all of those fund requests, but at the end of the day, we will take all of the fund requests into consideration and then make the best allocation of dollars for taxpayers in Davidson County. So, Sheriff, over to you. Tell us who you got with us today.
Yeah, so this is Pete Lutz. He's our Director of Finance for the Sheriff's Office. And
Good to
this
see you.
is Mr. John Hudson, who is our Chief of Administration. And I would like to point out that my son is home from college and is here too, being educated. How about that?
Well, tell him to wave his hand.
So
there he is.
So he's at least here learning, I hope. So
nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We, as you well know, the Sheriff's Office has been in transition the last 12 months with a large part of what we do. But I would like to point out a couple of things that those men and women who work there do incredibly well every day, and very proud of the work that they do. The Sheriff's Office remains the most, or at least for the larger departments, racially and gender diverse organizations in the government. Very proud of that. We've been working on that since 15 years ago as we took office. We're probably one of the only in the country law enforcement agencies that mirrors the exact makeup of its city. We are defined by that and very proud of that. One thing we've been working on lately, and very proud of this as well, that women on average make more money than men in the Sheriff's Office, so we need all the women to come to work as quickly as they can. Very proud of that as well, and we continue to maintain one of the lowest turnover rates in the United States, something that's very hard to do, and
absolutely
very eager to find new ways to keep good employees. And so, but a lot of people in Nashville, I think, know that we run the jail facilities, and that's usually the conversation. But given what's going on with that, and we all are, I think, very proud of where we are today and trying to transition into a temporary status and in the long term, obviously, back into a new facility. But and I think from the jail perspective, we're doing pretty well, both from a budget for next year and trying to manage and stay within budget this year. So there's not a lot of needs or conversation as it relates to operational budgets for the jail side of what we do. But I do want to talk about a couple of areas in the public safety arena that we do operate that don't usually get as much attention in the Sheriff's Office. One of those is the Civil Warrant Division. What that really means is we serve over 200,000 civil warrants a year. But the one that really draws the most attention and the one that's causing us the most problems lately is the order of protections that we serve. We are on the front line of the domestic violence issues in Nashville. We are the agency that served that notice, the entry of the order of protection. For a lot of reasons, that has increased dramatically on us over the last several years. About 2,000 a year increase the last several years. We've seen over 50% increase in total numbers of order of protection served in the last 7 years. And I think it's a good thing. I think the Family Justice Center is going to also bring more attention to it, but the Gene Crow Advocacy Center really brought attention to it, and we believe petitioners are more interested and able to file orders of protection. The bad news is the workload that is sending to us to serve, and as you can imagine, it's really critical for us to get there as soon as the person has filed the OP, and so that challenge continues to be a part of our ongoing growth in that area. That division is a two-officer team who goes out and serves the order of protection all over Nashville, and we're asking in this budget for 2 teams to be added to accommodate the need of that increase.
So that would be 4 additional FTEs?
4 people, 4 FTEs in the order protection unit. We haven't increased that really with all the jail stuff in the last 3 years. We have head down, but this is, and these are not interchangeable people, meaning we can't take people from the jails. It's a totally different operation. And so, so that's, as a priority, one of our top priorities that we submitted under your priority listing, and the reason we listed that as our top one.
So how many teams do you have now?
We have 2 teams presently. 4
so this
people
would double?
Right.
Okay.
And our fear here is where we're headed as well, because I anticipate when the Family Justice Center and things like that are making it easier on people to go take out orders of protection, which we all want, that workload and getting our part of it served. I guess for the viewers, the issue that's worth noting is we're knocking on the door notifying you to stay away from an individual via the court. If you violate that order, then the police come back out, obviously, and the criminal part takes over. But really, we're doing a lot more civil work than you do criminal work, because if the person complies, it never turns into a criminal matter. So I think the good news is we want fewer and fewer of them to turn criminal, but we also want to make sure that we can keep up with the load of folks that we're notifying to stay away from one individual or the other, because they're feeling more comfortable taking out the order of protection.
So you got a request for 16 new FTEs, so that would be 4 of them.
Yes, yes.
So talk to me about the other 12.
Okay, yes, and our second priority, and I'd like to ask if we could, but when we filled this out, this had to do with moving people from Harding down for courts because of the temporary reassignment. We have found some ways that we believe we can reduce this need and lower this as a priority, to be honest with you. So we've talked through this lately when we've got some technology we think can reduce some of that burden on us. The thing that, and then the third priority on your list that should be listed as number 3, really is contingent on what you guys decide to do with the courts. And I say you.
From this morning.
Right, which the conversation from this morning, which I think is very timely for us to talk about.
So if you were to decide to do the dockets in this building, we obviously need to increase the security. That is the domestic dockets. We could do it, but we would need the resources. This is a contract, G4S. We would then pay additional hours to secure the hallways and the courts area for the courtrooms. If that doesn't happen, we do not need this in our budget, clearly. It doesn't change at all. But
So would these be FTEs for the sheriff's department, or this would be a contractual, so we would be actually increasing the G
the hours of the
contract?
folks that you see in the
You'd
courthouse.
have more people and hours longer.
And it's a cheaper
close to $1 million
amount than it would be
to
for
do
us to
that.
hire them, but increased contractual
And so
dollars.
that 400 and some odd $1,000 is really just for this building
Right.
if orders of protection
Moves.
are moved over here.
So you're telling me it's $1 million?
Well, if you add in what their budget request is, I'm just thinking about in total to transfer the order of protection.
Oh, you're talking about
With
just
the 5
total.
FTs the
state,
courts have asked
courts
for,
want,
not
not
you.
yours,
Right,
right,
right.
gotcha.
When you add the Senate, it
Got
goes
it,
to $1
yeah.
million
Didn't
to
know
do
how to
that.
list that. We can't do it
It
without.
came up this morning, so we expected you to
Yeah,
speak
yeah,
to
yeah,
it.
absolutely. So your request for the safety component is about 400,000?
If that other decision is made.
Correct,
Yes.
right,
Okay.
okay.
If not, it goes away.
We're fine.
Right, okay. So help me understand where the other 12 FTEs are
Okay,
coming
all right,
from.
all right. I was going in priority order, that's why I was trying to
Okay,
stick, because
sure.
I moved them around, and that was our fault.
That's all right, no worries.
So the order protection would be the 4, we've lowered the priority of the armed services positions, and that was 4 as well, so
Right.
I think we can move that down. There's no FTEs on this building here.
Right, because they'll be contractors.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And there's 2 listed on here, and what this is we, in the next month, the 24th of April, we're taking on an effort to certify all of our officers in what we call behavioral care and corrections.
Great.
We'll be the only place in the country that basically requires you to be certified to deal with what is the mentally ill population. And we've been able to do that really within our existing budget. We're going to be within budget. We're gobbling this up to commit to getting them trained to do their job. But what this is going forward, because we want it to be a requirement of you to be, we're going to need to maintain that training for here and after, because to be in the jails working with this population, we want that person certified. And we can do it one time, but once month after month, we're going to have to promote and move people throughout the system. And we want to maintain the certification. So these 2 positions would allow us to do that. Both officers, the correctional officers, and also the program staff and the management staff would need to maintain what is the certification annually.
So it's better to have that training come from in-house than it is to be contractually giving it out to outside trainers?
It's a pretty
Is that-
expensive thing. We're going to do it in April. We'll get it done within our existing budget, but what we're fearful of is once you do that, if you lose it because we can't maintain it and get these folks all in one, this would not be able to be done in a one-time. And to be honest with you, we don't have the staff resources in-house to do what is going to be I compare it to carrying a weapon. I mean, we're trying to give them the tools to do their job in the jails. They do not have weapons and shouldn't, but we haven't equipped them with what they need either to deal with what is a very, as you know, very, very difficult population as we speak. So I think our idea is we're trying to commit to investing in them now. This would be to keep us going year after year, because our training is going to increase for everybody who works inside the facility. So that's the 2 additional FTEs. The other one is the mobile booking units. I think you've probably seen them around town. They're at various sites. When we first did this years ago, the idea was we purchased a unit through a grant. We got the positions to fund. It takes 6 people to run that. The idea then was to do special events and to be out in conjunction with the police when there was a special, let's not call it a special event, but a certain assignment that they were in need of. So we did that. It was so successful via the police that we went out and came to the government and asked for funding. They funded another vehicle. We didn't receive positions because at the time we were going to use the equipment and kind of universally use the people. What's happened is, I think, watch what you're good at. We get asked over and over. It's a very useful tool. If the police officer today goes to what is a mobile booking unit, it takes us 29 minutes to get he or she back in the field where the booking function. If they come downtown in lieu of that mobile unit, it's an hour and a half and some. The hour and a half is how long you're down. It doesn't take into account how long it takes you to drive back to your zone. And so the city really, to put the officer back in the zone, the idea was to put mobile units, at least at this point, 2 of them. This is not another unit, it's just the staffing to keep those running every day with the police. As you can imagine, last night we were with the police in what was a potential situation. But while we're doing that, there are arrests going on in Nashville being brought to those mobile units when we're really set up for what could have been a mass arrest. So what we don't have is the staffing to run the mobile units 7 days a week in the field for the police, and it's really just one shift.
And it's not for special events, it's just more for ease of access and then also time back into the field more quickly.
It reduces, and I'm not speaking for them, but it reduces their response time. It has to, because they're not having to be out of zone.
Sure.
We measure how long we require the officer to be down, and it's, again, 29 minutes in the field, an hour and a half downtown, and you can roll some more minutes. I grew up in Antioch. If you were going back to Antioch as a police officer, that 15, 20 or traffic, 45 minutes out of zone is what we're really trying to save here.
Okay.
And those 6.
And that doesn't provide another booking unit, this just staffs this one up accordingly.
It keeps us out all days or evenings with the police department, and I think that works hand in hand with them. We go where they tell us to be, basically, and park the vehicle. That's all the FTEs that are mentioned.
Let's just do a projection, because I know that we're not talking about this today, but I know that your FY19, a fairly significant budget request for staffing. Just put it out there so that it's in the ether.
I think this is very hard for us to do at this point. I find this extremely, I told our finance folks, I'm not comfortable with the numbers. We're trying to go along with a 3-year projection.
Sure.
The building, as you know, is finalizing. When that all gets settled, in the next 12 months, I commit to you being up here. I can tell you next year, I think the staffing pattern needed, there's no reason why it would be an increase.
Okay, then we won't have that conversation
I was
today.
kind of just making sure. We see it as, at best, a status quo, but I see savings because of the design. That's what we wanted to do.
Okay.
It should be significant.
Good.
Should be.
That's good to know. All right.
And the only other thing, what's that?
Let's talk about that more.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Design,
and I mentioned our folks, we put it on here, but I just think it should be our obligation to come back in here and show you what the savings of the investment's going to be, and it should definitely be there.
Great. That's, I think, on the operating side. You want to take a minute and walk us through on some of the capital budget
Okay,
components?
yeah. And as you know, most of these are of course, in general services budgets,
Yeah,
but each one of these we're intimately involved with, obviously. The Harding Place security is the upgrade.
Right,
It
and
is extremely, I was out there yesterday. It's a very secure campus, probably, and I feel very comfortable with what's going on there. I was, with what we're trying to do, I think we're doing, all of us, every part of the government, to hold that together for the next 24 months or so, and then get back to what is the normal environment out there. But my understanding is that's what this is. It's not as much additional monies, but it is to accommodate what has been done to finance that. Female housing is basically what it is. That's really just what it costs to house someone out at the CCA facility awaiting this build. At the conclusion of that construction, that money is no longer needed, especially to be contracted with. It would be back in the facilities that we all operate. The CJC exterior, that's really the project across the street. It has multiple pieces to that. We agree with the need. There's a lot of pieces as to things I don't know a lot about, but the construction pieces of it and what's going on with that. We, as you well know, we did some value engineering and all went together and figured out what could we do to save. We did not need the number of beds that were at once
Right, you
projected.
took down the number of beds, I think significantly, which was,
256, yeah.
right.
So, but I think we're down to a point where the city needs to, and this will, I think, not only number of beds, but the quality of those beds, and I'm talking about the security level of that bed. These would be the most high-profile people in the city of Nashville. This is where they would be housed, and so I think there's some cost in there to ensure that those beds are up to today's or cells standards, and I think that's the CJC number. The demolition number is at the Nuisance Center. It's the headquarters that you guys want to thank you and the council for last year giving us a home in the future. But there is a building on that site presently, the Jerry Nuisance Center, and I think this number is to the demo and remove that site.
If you listen to Billy Lynch telling me how he built that building, I don't know why it's going to cost more to tear it down than
because he built it brick by brick. Wasn't that it?
I'm sure you've heard the speech, so I just had to feel like I needed to say
I'm
it.
afraid the ghost of Billy will run out when they start tearing it down. But we had a meeting.
And just to be clear, this stuff is in the general services budget, but you're just highlighting it because this is some of your
It's
stuff.
very important to us,
Okay.
but again, we met with them this week even and gone. But this
The
would be.
headquarters project's moving forward well. Are you pleased?
Yes.
I just had to talk to you about that.
Yes, and by the way, the $1 million, of course, would allow us to get rid of that building, so the future design, which is well underway, and they're working great with us. Everybody is on track. There's an issue right below that the lease would be for us to go somewhere temporarily when you
Right.
tear it down, and
Which
there's
is,
some real.
we have to do that. So.
Have you identified yet if they got?
Yes, I mean, everybody's on it's the old Memorial Hospital
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
west.
Yep.
We would all be able to, it's about 100+ staff that would have a place to go. The
Great.
parking's fantastic, access, and as late as yesterday, they tell me, of course, the council has to approve that, and we're anxious to get that going. And time frame, if everything works out, it's late summer. We would be out of the building, demo, and then maybe back in, hopefully about the same time that across the street would finish.
Well, that's
and-
the hope.
Right. Be really, really good. So all of those issues, there's a lease issue to be determined,
Yep.
I think, by finance and general services. But all of those are basically tied to our transition stuff that we're doing and our needs. But I think everything's working very well with it.
Okay, great. I know that you are going to see a loss of revenue, and I think that's important for us to talk about because I think that's actually a good thing in a weird way.
Yeah.
I know Talia ever hates to hear the idea that we're losing revenue, but I think you've been very proactive on this, so take a moment.
Yeah, well, thank you. The timing of that was the contract, the phone contract, the inmate telephone contract was kind of in limbo. The FCC federally had been looking at the issue of commissions charged to inmates and or families. And so I've never philosophically believed that the government should benefit from that situation. But I do believe the cost should be paid for, the actual cost of it should be paid for by the user. And so what we realized is, and what the FCC realized is that there were a lot of places in this country still, by the way, that are using the commissions to fund other things in the government. Philosophically, that's a problem for us. And so we were trying to get ahead of what the FCC ruling was. We knew it was coming out. So we went to the table with the company and renegotiated to remove the commissions. It is important, though, that that's not costing the taxpayer money as in the cost of the call, but the government's no longer getting that revenue into the coffers to do other things with. And it takes the burden off the family. I mean, quite frankly, one of the things that we are aggressively doing and always have is to try to reduce the likelihood you come back. And the fact is, the connection you have to your family while you're incarcerated is directly correlated to your likelihood of success. And so we want you to have communication. We're one of the few places in the country right now that every inmate in our system has a tablet. It's literally like you see young people who may go to jail today wouldn't know how to dial a phone that I grew up on. And so the technology to stay connected means that we have to have the devices that they're comfortable with. And not just to make it comfortable, but to make you be able to stay connected to your family or your church or your work. And so if you think about it, the cost of doing that shouldn't burden the family who's also under a significant stress in their life. And so I believe we're the lowest rate in the United States today of what it costs you to make a phone call. We are one of the few in the country who do not have any commission in it. I think that's the right thing to do, and regardless of what the FCC does long term. But I do, we did talk with Talia. One thing that's in the numbers that I think is also a little misleading that we all know about is there was a $2 million
One time.
grant, basically, and that was a one-time deal. We knew
Right.
that. And so it looked significant to go from that, but we knew that wasn't going to be an annual.
Remind me what that grant was for.
Yeah, it was in the contract with the phones.
Oh, right, that was part of it. Yeah, that's,
So it looks bad to me too. It looks like you're going from 2-point-something million revenue to 0, and that was really not an annual number. We were ever counting on the 2 million grant money, but the revenue off the phones, we thought the right thing to do was to remove that because it was really just commission for the government off the backs of the families.
and take a minute, we've already kind of talked about the new facility, just the certification programs that you all are running so that folks, when they get out, actually have a skill.
Yeah, that's something we're very aggressively trying to stay up on is what is a marketable skill that when you leave the system that you can learn while you're here and take with you. I used to say that the prison system released a lot of addicted license plate makers because in the old days they didn't worry about what led you to jail and taught you to make a license plate, but that wasn't marketable when you got out. So what we want to do is to provide you the skill that will get you or continue your employment once you leave us. And so the food service industry is a large one. We have a Serve Safe certification you can
Right.
get while you're with us. And then you leave us and then can walk into the fast food industry and already have a certification. Work very hard in the cosmetology world. It's another area that's been very, I think, able to be employed, not only with us some, where we do allow folks to cut hair within, but once they get out. The thing I think and you guys know this, the SOAR program, where we're trying to get you back.
Can you talk about that because I think that's a really great program.
It is fantastic. We're the only jail in the country doing it, by the way, in the system. And we've worked, I think, very well with the rest of the players in the city to just say, wait, why can't we start that while the individual's in custody? Basically, the person who's been taken off of their benefits and their services that they need because they came to jail, who most need them, by the way, of all the population. Historically, they would stay off and had no means of paying for Social Security and other services that they should be receiving. What happens is when they come to jail, if you're mentally ill, a veteran, and homeless, and any of those combinations, our staff have been trained to start the process to get you back on your services, your benefits. The problem is it takes weeks, and let's just say 6 weeks. A lot of these folks aren't with us the entire time, and so what we've been working to do is to partner in the community that we're releasing someone today, but here's where we are in the process of getting them restored. And I think going forward, the hope is that we can connect that dot with the health department, with the mental health community, and because the individual is oftentimes not capable of doing all that themselves. And so we start it, and if you stay with us 6 weeks, and I think the numbers are probably under 20 that we've been able to do in-house the entire process, but we restored every bit of their benefits. They can walk out of there capable of paying for services that they weren't able to get. So,
And just because I think, I remember that this was a grant that came with the cooperation with the Homeless Commission,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So, and I think that it's been a great example of something that's really taken off and been a good thing.
yeah, and we don't deserve the credit at all. What happened was, which I thought was really good, was we had the person, the Homeless Commission, and Jeff Blum and some folks here in town have been very passionate for years about homelessness and things. And what we were able to do is to say, wow, we have the great opportunity while they're with us. And so we were then, I think a couple of budgets ago, were able to move some of that grant
Yep.
money from the health department. And so in their person, and we certified some of our other people. But it's the frustration for us is we want to see it start to finish, to be honest.
Sure.
I mean, and the door's open. It's time for the person to go. And so we've realized that the best thing to do is to bring the community partner in and say, here, hand the ball off, and let's continue that process. Especially when we're talking about the mentally ill, the subject everyone's talking about. If we can get the person started, and then the whoever the person is picking them up at the door, hopefully the community partners are able to finish that process. Then they're able to pay for services, which is the other big challenge is how do we get resources to pay? And so I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but when I started here, the government, federal and local governments really partnered in a way to get people off of Social Security.
Interesting.
We used to get literally this government, us included, were rewarded money for finding people on Social Security and taking them off the rolls. Again,
Interesting.
it's just the way the world was probably not looking forward about it. Sure. And it was a grant or a program where they would restore into a revenue stream. And I forget, it's been several years ago. And so we're now obviously going in a very aggressive way to get people restored.
Well, especially for our veterans and
Right.
and like you said, our homeless folks who are mentally ill, having that safety net when they walk out is really important.
And ability to pay.
Yeah.
So we're trying to expand and go faster. That's what I mean, because the person doesn't stay with us long time. So.
And Sheriff, just one other program that I know that you run that I would love to give you a second just to talk about, and that is the program where you've got female inmates who create the dream purses.
Oh, yeah. That's the only
Pretty
person I know
amazing
about that.
program.
It is. Dreamweave is a program, and it's really the idea was that they wanted to make I think a program where the individual could inside the facilities could start learning a skill that could not only be profitable to them, but give them something, I think, to feel good about themselves. And obviously, we take recycled materials, or they take recycled materials, and then weave these purses that are phenomenal. I mean,
They're
are.
beautiful.
And they take a theme. I think they made yours for
They
Nashville.
did. I have the beautiful purse, and then I gave another one to my sister because they're so fabulous. Yeah, love 'em.
But they also weave their dream in the purse, which I think is really neat. They write that, and the individual who's done that is then able to try to sell the purse. There's a not-for-profit here in town that really helps them try to get that. It's a social enterprise, basically, where they're trying to, and that's what we're all trying to find a way to do, to give them something. And so,
And they
really,
make the money off the purse. The payment of the purse goes directly into their account so that they can provide that money to their children or whatever they're needing.
Right. The nonprofit here in town manages all that for them. They
Yep.
post it. They have the websites. There's fundraisers. I've been to fundraisers. We've all tried to support it. And what's great to see is the women who've done the purse to come to these events in the community, and there sits their purse on the table, and they've got their story weaved. It's just and I hope it's an economic boost for them. That's a goal. But it's also, a lot of things that we learn is that the individual hasn't seen success, start, finish, and something come out of it. And so it's been, for us, we've been anxious to see the community hopefully endorse the purses, because it's not only a quality purse, but it's the right thing to do for people who are trying to make the right decisions moving forward. So, and I own one myself, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Great. Any other questions that you've got?
No, I'm good.
Or are you? No?
Good.
Well, we so appreciate you all taking time. Thank you. I know that we were behind, so we appreciate that you stuck with us.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. Appreciate you.